Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to dig into a really cool gardening technique that, no joke, turns your yard waste into garden wonder. All right, so let me ask you something. When you've got fallen branches, leaves, grass clippings, what do you do with it? For most of us, right, it's just debris. We bag it up, haul it to the curb, and forget about it. But what if I told you all that waste is actually the secret ingredient, the key to building a super thriving, low-maintenance garden bed that pretty much takes care of itself? What if that pile of stuff you were about to throw out could become your garden's greatest asset? Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so let's jump right in. We're going to start by totally rethinking our backyards. It's all about shifting our perspective, from seeing disposal to seeing a huge opportunity. For the longest time, a lot of conventional gardening has kind of treated soil like a sterile pot you just dump stuff into. But there's this other approach, a regenerative one, and it's got these really deep roots in ancient practices. It sees soil completely differently, as this vital, living ecosystem that we can actually help build back up. And that whole mindset, it's all built on understanding the secret life that's happening right under our feet. Seriously, that's where the real magic is. So what is healthy soil anyway? I mean, it is not just dirt. It's this incredibly complex ecosystem just jam-packed with microorganisms. We're talking bacteria, fungi, worms, the whole crew. They're the ones cycling nutrients, storing water, and basically supporting all life. It's alive. And really, at the heart of all this is something you already know: composting. It's basically nature's ultimate recycling program. Think about it. It's how a forest builds that amazing, rich, fertile soil without anyone helping it. We're just going to take that exact same idea and harness it for our own gardens. Which finally brings us to this absolutely brilliant, centuries-old technique from Germany and Eastern Europe. It's called Hugelkultur. And what it is essentially is a super clever way to build a compost pile right inside your garden bed. Okay, so how do you actually build one of these amazing garden mounds? Well, it's way simpler than it sounds. And yeah, it uses all that waste we were just talking about. First things first, you gotta gather your ingredients. And I want you to think about it like you're building a lasagna, okay? Your base layer, the pasta, is the big stuff: large logs, thick branches. Then you add your next layer of smaller sticks. Then comes the green stuff, the sauce and cheese, if you will, like grass clippings. And you top it all off with a nice layer of compost and soil. So yeah, the whole process is just layering this stuff up. You start with those big logs down at the bottom, you fill in all the little gaps with smaller branches, then you pile on all your nitrogen-rich green materials, and finally you cap the whole thing off with soil. What you're doing is creating this woody core that's going to break down for years, constantly feeding your garden from the inside out. All right, so what is going on inside this mound once you've built it? Well, it basically becomes this powerhouse of ecological activity. It's like a little engine that does a ton of the gardening work for you. So as that woody core starts to break down, it gets super porous. It becomes like a giant sponge buried in your garden. It just soaks up rainwater and holds on to it, creating this amazing water reservoir that your plant roots can tap into whenever they get thirsty. And what does that mean for you? Way, way less watering. And it's not just water either. The super slow breakdown of all that organic matter, the wood, the leaves, the grass clippings, creates this slow and steady release of nutrients for years and years. It's basically a self-fertilizing battery for your garden. Now, a question I hear a lot is, hey, can I use fresh wood or does it have to be rotten? And the answer is, yeah, you absolutely can use fresh wood. But there's one little thing you got to keep in mind, especially for that first year. So here's the deal. The little microorganisms that break down fresh wood, they need a lot of energy. And for them, that energy is nitrogen. So for the first year or so, they're going to borrow nitrogen from the surrounding soil to get their job done. It creates a temporary deficit. But, and this is the important part, once they're done, they pay it all back with interest. As the wood rots, it releases all that nitrogen and more back into the soil, making it even more fertile down the road. So when you get right down to it, building a hugelkultur mound is all about creating a garden that gives back. It gives back to you, it gives back to your plants, and yep, it gives back to the planet. Just think about the potential here for a second. Take a look at this. Over half of what a typical household throws away is organic material. All of that stuff is a perfect resource for your garden. We can literally turn what would just be more landfill trash into amazing, rich, fertile soil. I mean, the benefits are just huge. For you, the gardener, it means less work, less watering, less fertilizing, and you get healthier, more productive plants. And for the planet, you're literally pulling carbon out of the air and locking it in the soil. You're cutting down on landfill waste, and you're building a healthier little ecosystem right in your own backyard. It's a total win-win. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Maybe the best gardens aren't the ones we just grow. Maybe they're the ones we build from the ground up. Not with stuff we buy from a store, but with the resources we already have just lying around. It's amazing to think that by burying our so-called waste, we can create so much abundance. So the question is, what could you build in your backyard?